When people picture the Great Pyramids of Giza, they often imagine a desert skyline pierced by perfect triangles, icons of mystery untouched by time. But the story of these monuments began long before a single block was levered into place.
It started with an idea that fused religion, royal power, and landscape. The king, God's son, must secure eternal rebirth in the West, where the sun dies each evening to rise again. The pyramid field at Giza became the stage for that cosmic cycle, a carefully chosen terrace of bedrock at the edge of the Nile floodplain.
The Giza Plateau sits within Memphis and its necropolis, the UNESCO World Heritage Zone that preserves the Old Kingdom's evolution from modest mastabas to giant pyramids. This progression shows how engineering and belief matured together. Giza's three main pyramids belong to Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure, each anchored in a complex of temples, causeways, and queen's pyramids. These were not isolated monuments, but parts of a vast city of the dead.
Khufu's pyramid is the largest, originally 146.6 meters high, now 138.8 meters after centuries of erosion. Each base side was 230 meters long, and the orientation to true north is nearly perfect.
Inside, the passages descend and climb to the king's chamber, with the grand gallery rising like a stone cathedral. Granite blocks from Aswan form the chamber's ceiling, each weighing dozens of tons.
The pyramid's mass is staggering, around 2.3 million blocks totaling 5.75 million tons. Each block was cut, transported, and placed with astonishing coordination.
The Giza Plateau itself offered stable limestone bedrock, perfect for such massive construction. Engineers leveled the foundation with extraordinary precision, within 2 centimeters over hundreds of meters. Religious meaning reinforced the choice. The pyramid symbolized the sun's rays, shining as a stairway to heaven for the king's rebirth. Brilliant Tura limestone keysing stones once made Khufu's pyramid shine like a jewel in the desert. Proof comes from a diary of Merer, papyri describing limestone shipments across the Nile. This rare record shows how carefully planned the logistics of the project were. Nearby, excavations uncovered the lost city of the pyramid builders, a bustling workers' village with bakeries, breweries, and barracks. Evidence shows they were not slaves but organized crews supported by the state.
East of Khafre's pyramid lies the Great Sphinx, carved from bedrock, facing the rising sun. It stood guard as a cosmic symbol linking earth and sky. Construction techniques likely combined ramps, sledges, and levers. Water may have been poured on sand to reduce friction when dragging stones.
The granite beams above the king's chamber distributed the weight of millions of tons. Painted quarry marks inside prove Khufu's crews built the pyramid in his reign.
Modern scans revealed hidden voids inside the Great Pyramid. Using muon detectors, scientists found cavities as large as the Grand Gallery, still unexplored. Alignments show the builders used circumpolar stars to achieve precise orientation. This precision connected heaven, earth, and the eternal afterlife of the king.
The Great Pyramid was no alien artifact, but a human triumph of engineering, faith, and organization. It embodied the king's eternal rebirth and Egypt's cosmic order. Before workers could raise millions of tons of stone, they had to prepare the ground. The Giza Plateau's natural limestone bedrock was stable, but its surface was uneven and sloping. Surveyors leveled the surface to astonishing precision within about 2 centimeters across a 230-meter square. They dug narrow channels, filled them with water, and used the liquid surface as a level guide. At each pyramid corner, builders cut sockets directly into the bedrock. These foundation points locked the orientation, ensuring the corners aligned almost perfectly to the cardinal directions. The alignment itself was achieved through astronomy. Egyptians likely used the stars Kochab and Mizar, watching when they formed a vertical line to determine north.
With orientation fixed, masons laid the first course of huge limestone blocks. These stones were cut so precisely that even today, some joints measure less than half a millimeter wide.
The pyramid's base covered 13 acres, about 52,000 meters squared. Each side was originally 230.4 meters long, with a slope angle of about 51.8 degrees.
These numbers formed the blueprint for everything above. The Tura limestone casing, later stripped away, made the pyramid shine like a beacon. Blocks were dragged from the Nile harbor, placed with ramps, and smoothed to a seamless white surface. Ramps were the lifeline of construction. Some archaeologists propose a straight ramp extending from the plateau, others a zigzagging or spiraling system hugging the pyramid.
The ramps were made of mud brick, limestone chippings, and rubble. Wooden sledges slid up these paths, lubricated by water poured onto the sand to reduce friction.
Logistics were just as vital as engineering. Boats ferried stones across the Nile to a harbor near the Giza Plateau, timed with the annual flood that made transport easier.
The harbor itself lay at the pyramid's base, now buried under sand. Archaeologists uncovered ancient wharves and canals, evidence of how water was integrated into construction. Once blocks reached the plateau, teams of masons shaped them with copper chisels and dolerite pounding stones. Despite the hardness of granite, they achieved flat surfaces and sharp edges.
The first courses of the pyramid were the most critical. Each block had to be aligned and leveled, because any error at the base would magnify as the structure rose higher.
Work was organized in teams called crews and gangs. Painted marks found in hidden chambers record names like Friends of Khufu and Drunkards of Menkaure.
Construction advanced in phases, course by course, each layer carefully dressed and backfilled with rubble to stabilize the interior. The visible perfection masked a core of rougher stone. By the end of Khufu's reign, the pyramid's base was complete, foundation courses aligned, and the monumental scale set in stone. It stood as the promise of eternity, ready to rise. As the Great Pyramid rose, it was not just a mountain of stone, but a carefully engineered system of internal chambers and passages. Each corridor and gallery had a purpose beyond symbolism. They were structural solutions to immense pressures.
The builders began with the descending passage, a narrow corridor sloping down at 26 degrees. It cut straight into the bedrock below the pyramid, leading to an unfinished chamber.
From the descending route, a hidden junction opens to the ascending passage, which rises upward at nearly the same angle, narrow and claustrophobic. This corridor would later connect to the chambers above. Halfway up lies the so-called Queen's Chamber, a misnamed room never used for burial. It has a pointed corbel ceiling and mysterious shafts that extend outward but stop short of the pyramid's surface. Above all, the most breathtaking feature is the Grand Gallery. This towering passage stretches nearly 47 meters long and 8.6 meters high, with corbelled walls that rise in steps like a stone canyon.
At the end of the Grand Gallery, a narrow corridor leads to the King's Chamber, built entirely of granite blocks from Aswan, each weighing up to 80 tons.
The ceiling of the King's Chamber is the true marvel. 5 stacked layers of granite beams forming relieving chambers to deflect the crushing weight of millions of tons above.
Inside one of these relieving chambers, explorers in the 19th century found red ochre quarry marks, crew names like the Friends of Khufu. These graffiti confirm the pyramid's builder. Another enduring mystery are the so-called air shafts. 2 rise from the King's Chamber and 2 from the Queen's Chamber, angled upward toward the pyramid's surface. Their function remains debated: ventilation, star alignment, or symbolic passages for the king's soul. The placement of these passages required astonishing foresight. Builders had to cut them while the pyramid was rising, ensuring perfect alignment with stars and with the chamber geometry. The Grand Gallery itself may have served as a ramp inside the pyramid. Some theories suggest wooden beams and pulleys operated here, hauling massive granite blocks upward into place. At the far end of the King's Chamber lies the granite sarcophagus, unfinished and slightly too large to fit through the passages. This means it was placed before the chamber was sealed forever. Even today, the exact purpose of some of these features remains uncertain. Were they symbolic, structural, or both? The design blends practicality with cosmic ambition.
In 2017, modern muon scans revealed a hidden void above the Grand Gallery, roughly the same size, but with no known entrance. It might be another relieving space, or a still undiscovered chamber. The genius of Khufu's engineers lay not just in raising blocks, but in anticipating forces. They built chambers within chambers, corridors within masses, so the pyramid could stand for eternity. Behind the grandeur of the Great Pyramid stood thousands of people. They were not slaves in chains, but organized crews of workers, skilled, fed, and housed by the state.
Archaeologists uncovered their settlement at Hayt el-Gharab, often called the Lost City of the Pyramid Builders. It lay southeast of the pyramids, hidden under desert sands for millennia.
This settlement contained long galleries, barracks that may have housed rotating labor crews of up to 1,600 men each. The organization was military in discipline, but civilian in purpose. Excavations revealed bakeries and breweries that produced vast amounts of bread and beer. These staples fueled the workers with carbohydrates and hydration in Egypt's intense desert climate.
Bones of cattle, sheep, and goats were found in large quantities. This indicates the pyramid workforce ate meat regularly, something rare for most ancient Egyptians.
Analysis of skeletons from the workers' cemetery shows they received medical care. Some had healed broken bones, proof that injured workers were treated and returned to labor. The crews themselves had names, proudly painted in hidden chambers: the Friends of Khufu, the Drunkards of Menkaure. These graffiti reveal camaraderie and team spirit.
Work was organized in shifts. Crews rotated in from across Egypt, serving for part of the year as corvée labor, tax paid in work instead of grain.
Permanent specialists, stonecutters, masons, and overseers stayed year-round. These experts directed less trained laborers in the complex processes of quarrying, hauling, and setting stones. The state supported this workforce with food, housing, and supplies. But in return, workers gave their labor to honor the king's eternal afterlife. It was both duty and devotion. Each worker was part of a larger team called a file, often composed of 200 men. These files were subdivided into smaller gangs, each responsible for a section of the pyramid. Water supply was critical. Excavations uncovered wells and storage jars at Hayt el-Gharab, proving a constant system of hydration for the workforce. The settlement also had elite quarters for overseers and administrators. These buildings were larger, with decorated walls and more private space. Death was also part of life here. Cemeteries for the workers reveal burials with modest grave goods, jars of beer, bread, and amulets, a sign of respect for their service. Together, this evidence overturns the myth of slaves dragging stones under the lash. The pyramid was built by Egyptians for their king, proud of their role in eternal glory. When Khufu's pyramid dominated the plateau, his son Khafre sought to build a monument that would rival it. Khafre's pyramid is slightly smaller, but positioned on higher ground, giving the illusion of equal height. Khafre's pyramid still retains fragments of its original white Tura limestone casing at the top, the best surviving evidence of how the pyramids once gleamed.
His pyramid complex included a valley temple, a long causeway, and a mortuary temple at the pyramid's base. These formed a ceremonial route for rituals of resurrection.
The Valley Temple of Khafre is one of the best preserved in Egypt. Built of massive limestone and granite blocks, it contains statues of the king seated in divine form. Beside Khafre's pyramid stands the Great Sphinx, carved directly from bedrock. It is a colossal lion with a human head, measuring 73 meters long and 20 meters high. The face of the Sphinx is believed to represent Khafre himself, linking the monument to his divine kingship. Weathered but enduring, it gazes eternally toward the rising sun. The Sphinx's purpose remains debated: guardian of the necropolis, solar symbol, or embodiment of royal power. Its alignment due east
suggests a strong solar connection.
Later, Menkaure, Khafre's son, constructed the third and smallest pyramid at Giza. Originally 65 meters high, it was less grand but more refined in design.
Menkaure's pyramid was partly cased with granite at its base, a costly and ambitious choice. This gave the monument a darker, more dramatic appearance.
Around Menkaure's pyramid stand 3 small Queen's pyramids, showing how royal women were integrated into the sacred landscape.
Menkaure's Valley Temple also contains statues, many unfinished, including triads depicting the king with goddess Hathor and regional deities.
Together, Khafre and Menkaure extended Giza into a dynasty-wide necropolis, each pyramid complex connected by ceremonial causeways, temples, and smaller tombs for queens and nobles.
The Great Sphinx stood as the eternal guardian of this sacred landscape. It linked earth, sun, and king in a single monumental image carved from the very bedrock of Giza. The Great Pyramids were not only engineering marvels, but sacred machines designed for eternity. They were built to ensure the king's rebirth as a god, joining Ra, the sun in the sky.
Egyptian belief held that the king's Ka, his life force, needed a permanent home and constant rituals to survive. Without them, his journey to the afterlife could fail.
The mortuary complex around each pyramid was a stage for this eternal drama. It included a valley temple, causeway, mortuary temple, subsidiary pyramids, and offering chapels.
The Valley Temple was where the king's body first arrived, purified in sacred rites before burial. Priests washed and dressed the body in fine linen, anointing it with oils.
From there, the body traveled along the causeway, a roofed ceremonial road decorated with reliefs showing the king's triumphs and divine connection.
At the mortuary temple, the king's Ka received daily offerings of bread, beer, meat, and incense. These rituals were performed not once, but forever.
The offerings were recorded by scribes and stored in granaries. Temples surrounding the pyramid became centers of economic activity as well as religion. Inside the pyramid, the sarcophagus held the king's body, while the pyramid shape itself symbolized the rays of the sun. It was a stairway for the king's spirit to ascend to the heavens.
Texts carved later in pyramids of the 5th and 6th dynasties, the pyramid texts, describe the king's journey to join the sun god Ra and the stars of Orion and the circumpolar heavens.
Priests recited spells to protect the king's soul from dangers in the afterlife, snakes, demons, and chaos. Every word ensured safe passage through the duat, the underworld.
Funerary boats buried beside the pyramid symbolized the king's voyage with the sun across the heavens. One of Khufu's boats, discovered in 1954, was reconstructed and still exists today.
The daily rituals in the mortuary temple involved offering food, burning incense, and ringing sistrums, musical instruments, to awaken the gods. These acts renewed the king's power each day.
The pyramid was thus both tomb and temple, burial place and cosmic ladder. Its function was not death alone, but eternal rebirth. In this system, the king was not merely remembered, he was reborn each dawn. The pyramid ensured Egypt itself remained in harmony, the cosmic balance of Ma'at preserved.
For more than 4,000 years, the Great Pyramids have inspired wonder and confusion. Myths arose from ancient storytellers, medieval travelers, and modern conspiracy theories alike.
One of the earliest writers was Herodotus, the Greek historian who visited Egypt in the 5th century BCE. He described armies of 100,000 slaves building the pyramids, a claim long proven false.
Medieval Arab historians offered their own interpretations, sometimes seeing the pyramids as granaries of Joseph from the Bible or as repositories of magical texts.
In modern times, myths have multiplied. Some claim the pyramids were built by aliens. Others suggest they were power plants generating mysterious energy.
Pseudoscience often points to the pyramid's precise orientation and geometry. While remarkable, these alignments are explained by careful observation of stars and practical surveying methods.
Another myth claims the pyramids were built with lost high technology. In reality, evidence shows the use of copper chisels, dolerite pounders, sledges, ramps, and organized labor.
Some fringe theories link the pyramids to Atlantis or lost civilizations, yet no archaeological evidence supports these claims. Every stone and inscription ties them firmly to ancient Egypt.
The pyramid power myth, popularized in the 20th century, suggested pyramids could sharpen razors or preserve food. Experiments proved such claims false.
Hollywood and popular culture also reshaped the pyramid's image. Films often show them as mysterious alien relics or haunted tombs hiding curses.
The idea of the pharaoh's curse became famous after the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. Though not related to the pyramids, this myth fueled their aura of danger. In truth, the pyramids contain no curses, no alien technology, and no hidden Atlantean wisdom. What they reveal is far more human: ingenuity, devotion, and ambition.
Modern science continues to dispel misconceptions. Radiocarbon dating, tool marks, papyri records, and worker villages all prove these were Egyptian state projects, not mysteries beyond human ability.
Yet the myths persist because the pyramids inspire awe. Their sheer size and endurance make people search for explanations beyond the ordinary. The truth is that human hands, human minds, and human faith built these monuments. And that truth, grounded in evidence, is more extraordinary than any myth.
The Great Pyramids may be ancient, but modern archaeology continues to reveal new secrets. Each generation of explorers, from early travelers to high-tech scientists, has uncovered pieces of the puzzle.
In 1798, Napoleon's expedition to Egypt brought the pyramids into Western science. His team measured, sketched, and documented them with unprecedented detail.
By the 19th century, explorers like Giovanni Belzoni and Howard Weiss blasted their way into chambers, leaving both discoveries and damage. Weiss found painted quarry marks linking the Great Pyramid to Khufu. In the early 20th century, archaeologists focused on the pyramid workers. George Reisner and others excavated mastaba tombs and funerary objects, painting a fuller picture of daily life.
Modern archaeology combines fieldwork with advanced imaging. The Harvard Giza project has digitized thousands of photos, diaries, and plans, making the site accessible worldwide.
The biggest breakthrough came with the discovery of the Diary of Mirror at Wadi al-Jarf in 2013. These papyri described limestone transport for Khufu's pyramid, proving logistical details once only guessed.
Modern technologies have gone even further. Ground-penetrating radar and 3D laser scanning map the pyramid structure without excavation.
The Scan Pyramids project used cosmic ray muography to detect voids inside the pyramid. In 2017, they revealed a hidden space the size of the Grand Gallery above the King's Chamber.
In 2023, a new corridor-shaped cavity was found near the pyramid's north face. Measuring about 9 meters long, it is still being studied. These discoveries show that the Great Pyramid still hides mysteries. Non-invasive tools allow exploration without damaging the ancient stonework.
Archaeologists also study micro-remains, flakes of copper from tools, fragments of mortar, pollen grains, to reconstruct ancient technology and environment.
Satellite imagery and drone surveys map the Giza Plateau in detail, revealing hidden quarries, harbor channels, and worker settlements.
With each discovery, the myth of mystery gives way to human history. The pyramids are no longer just icons, but active research sites where technology meets antiquity. Yet despite lasers, muons, and satellites, the Great Pyramid still resists full understanding. Its secrets remain locked in stone, waiting for future science to uncover.
The Great Pyramids were more than tombs. They were the ultimate statement of royal power. Their sheer size projected the pharaoh's authority over life, death, and eternity.
In Egypt's Old Kingdom, the pyramids anchored the capital of Memphis, shaping political and religious identity. They embodied Ma'at, the principle of order, justice, and cosmic balance.
Their influence reached beyond Giza. Later dynasties built pyramids at Saqqara, Dashur, and elsewhere, though never on the same colossal scale.
Even after pyramid building declined, their symbolic power endured. Kings of the New Kingdom built massive temples instead, but pyramidal forms lived on in obelisks and tombs.
For ordinary Egyptians, the pyramids symbolized a promise. As long as the king was reborn, the land itself would flourish. The cycle of the Nile was tied to the king's eternal life.
Beyond Egypt, the pyramids inspired other civilizations. Nubian kings in Sudan built their own steep pyramids at Meroe, a continuation of Egyptian influence far south.
In the modern era, the pyramids inspired architecture across the globe. From French memorials to American mausoleums, pyramidal forms became symbols of endurance.
The Giza pyramids also became central to Egypt's national identity. In the 19th and 20th centuries, they appeared on stamps, coins, and tourism posters.
Tourism transformed the pyramids into global icons. Millions visit each year, standing in awe before structures older than most civilizations.
Their endurance also shaped global imagination. Writers, poets, and artists, from ancient travelers to modern filmmakers, have all drawn inspiration from Giza's eternal silhouettes.
Even today, the pyramids spark innovation. Engineers study their stability, architects draw on their geometry, and scientists use them to test new imaging technologies.
The legacy of the pyramids is not only stone, but meaning. They stand as humanity's oldest megastructures still intact, proof of what societies can build when united by vision. Today, the Great Pyramids stand as one of the last surviving 7 wonders of the ancient world. They remain both fragile ruins and global icons.
Tourism brings millions of visitors to Giza every year, generating income for Egypt, but also stressing the fragile environment. Conservation is a constant challenge. Wind erosion, pollution, and urban encroachment from nearby Cairo threaten the stability of the plateau.
Archaeologists and engineers reinforce cracks, monitor foundations, and manage drainage to protect the stone from further damage.
International organizations like UNESCO and Egyptian authorities work together on preservation programs. The goal is to keep the pyramids standing for generations to come.
Technology also aids conservation. 3D scanning creates exact models of the pyramids, allowing virtual preservation even if physical damage continues.
The pyramids remain powerful symbols in Egypt's modern identity. They appear in art, music, literature, and even on the national currency.
Yet the future of the pyramids depends on balance, preserving history while welcoming the world. Responsible tourism, conservation, and research must work together.
For visitors, standing at the base of the Great Pyramid is humbling. Its stones tower above, connecting human hands of 4,500 years ago to the present. And for scientists, each discovery renews the sense that the pyramids are not frozen relics, but living laboratories of history.
The Great Pyramids endure as symbols of what humanity can achieve, visions in stone, balancing science, faith, and eternity.
In the end, they remind us that while civilizations rise and fall, human imagination leaves monuments that outlast empires.